I like that 83 right there. Like second.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Tarnation TV live on the air on Tarnation TV and the Flat Out Racing Network. Race number 15 of season finale here at season number 66, the Talladega Challenge at Rolling Thunder Gaming. Lots to go over tonight. We had a server failure last week, so this is the final race. Anyway, my name is Blaine Donlin, joined, of course, by the Flat Out Racing Network crew of Kyle Matthews and Seth Cool this evening.
Yeah, we've kind of jumped back in time here, Blaine, because there used to be a time here in the Talladega Challenge Series where it was a one-and-done season finale to determine the championship. They then, in the last few seasons, I guess I should say, they decided that they put a little bit more emphasis on consistency for the championship and made it a two-race final round. But as you said, with the issues that we had last week, administrative decision to have this be the final race, kind of call last week a null and void statistically, and 66 laps going to determine a champion of the final five. So it's kind of like a little bit outside of the norm, I guess, for these guys, Kyle, and the fact that we have one more driver battling for the championship than what they originally planned, plus one less race to determine said champion.
Yeah, it's supposed to be a final four, but it's now a final five, and it used to be, it was supposed to be who had the most points after the last two races. Now it's just be the highest finishing of the five, and you're the champion. Just kind of winging it here. So, but it's got to make things a little bit easier for these drivers. At least they know what they have to do to win the championship. They don't have to go into this race, trying to calculate points or bonus points or anything like that. It's just an all-out race. Be the highest finisher, walk out with the trophy.
Yeah, obviously, when they ended up moving to the two-race final round, we would see drivers really have some issues or some struggles in the first of those two races and then find themselves firmly behind the eight ball, sometimes in must-win situation to even keep themselves in the conversation for the championship. As you said, tonight, tunnel vision, the four other competitors that you're battling for the championship, and as long as you can just finish ahead of them, you don't even have to win the race tonight. We could end up having our final five. I'll finish us out of the top 20. As long as you're 21st and the other four are 22nd or further back, you win the championship here in season 66 of the Talladega Challenge Series. Those five drivers, to bring everybody up to speed once again, four former champions of this series, including Chuck McClure, Joe DeSpirito, Josh Metallic, and Brian Schilling. Denny Carroll, with his first appearance into the final five, looking to get his first championship of this series, got his first win earlier this season as well. And I'm trying to remember back, I believe that the last driver to win a championship back when they had the format of one race to close out the season in the finale, I want to say it was Chuck McClure. I could be wrong, but we'll have to see if lightning maybe strikes twice for driver number 17. But we cannot forget the fact that there are upwards of 35 X Factors out there. Your fate for the championship is not necessarily in your own hands here tonight. There are 30 plus other drivers that would love to close out this season with a checkered flag, and they are going to race you as hard as they can to do so. You have more to lose than they do.
That's the great thing about racing. There's always something to race for everybody. Even if you're not in contention for the championship, that's all right. Go out there, try to win yourself a race, get yourself a trophy.
And there's also the battle within the battle here tonight as well. While we'll be covering those five drivers battling for the overall championship, as you say, there's always something for drivers to race for. We've been covering during the course of this season the Bracket Challenge Championship. The finale for that is tonight. Denny Carroll going to pull double duty, trying to fight for an overall championship and the Bracket Challenge Championship. He and Donnie Garrett go head-to-head here tonight. Highest finisher between the 41 and the 77 will claim the championship here in season 66. So a lot that we're going to have to keep an eye on during the course of tonight's race.
It's pretty interesting that Denny Carroll could possibly sweep tonight if he's
Yeah.
if he's able to win the race, win the bracket challenge, win the championship. What a night that would be.
So kind of interesting here. We've so far run officially 4 playoff races. 3 of those races have been won by playoff contenders. The only outlier was Richard Martin. We saw him pull off an incredible fuel strategy gamble back in the 3rd playoff race. Last week, obviously not recognized statistically. What do you think for our final 5? Do they defy the odds? Do we see one of our championship hopefuls win this race? Or do you think that we're going to see a non-playoff driver, maybe more specifically a first-time winner on the season, someone that hasn't formally gone to victory lane here in season 66?
Man, it really wouldn't surprise me if we get down to the closing stages and all 5 of our championship contenders are right up there contending for the win as well. But this is a stacked field. I mean, really anybody in the field can win. That's the beauty of restrictor plate racing. And there's a lot of successful drivers in this field that are not in the final 5 that could easily pull off a win. So your guess is as good as mine, honestly.
One of those drivers would include the outgoing champion from season 65, Jeremy Jeffries. We saw him get eliminated after the first elimination race back in the round of 12. What about driver mentality here tonight? Because when we came back last week to begin this final round of the playoffs, we had just come off Thanksgiving break. They had a week off, and we ended up seeing some really aggressive racing in the early going, some early yellows. Seemed like everybody, the adrenaline was high. They were ready to get back behind the wheel and get going. Do we see something similar like that here tonight? Or since there's so much hanging in the balance here with just one race to determine it all, do we see maybe a little bit more laid back in the early going where drivers now big picture race realizing, hey, last opportunity to get a checkered flag here in season 66. Last opportunity to get a checkered flag here in 2025. You can't win the race on lap 1, but you can lose on lap 1. Let's rein it in a little bit. Let's try and at least get to the second half before we up the ante.
Yeah, I think early on in the race, everybody that's not one of those 5 drivers, that's not one of the 5 drivers racing for the championship, I think everybody's going to be conscious about that. They don't want to do anything that's going to cost somebody a championship. So it wouldn't surprise me if everybody's, at least like you said, during the first half of the race, if they take things a little bit more calm than usual. But who knows? We've been wrong before, so we'll see.
That's why we're up here in the booth and not down there putting on the gloves and getting ready to grab the steering wheel. It'll be also interesting to see tonight. We already mentioned that there always seems to be something to race for, no matter whether you are a playoff contender or not. You win here tonight, you lock yourself into the Super Speedway All-Star Race for RTG's upcoming All-Star Race weekend. So a big opportunity there to lock yourself into a field and not have to transfer in through the open. They're about 30 seconds away from gridding up. We'll quickly take you through your starting lineup for tonight's race, highlight where your 5 championship hopefuls will be starting. Terry Bombard draws the long straw tonight. He will start this race from the pole position. Jeremy Jeffries, the defending champion from 1 season ago, will share the front row with him. Chuck McClure, how about this? Rolling off from the 3rd position here tonight. He will be the highest starting of the final 5. Donnie Garrett, who's fighting for the Bracket Challenge Championship, will join him on the outside of row 2. Pat McCarskey, he'll be back in row 3 alongside of another of our final 5. That would be the 24 of Joe DeSpirito. Buckshot, Coach Kelly Causey, he'll be on the inside of row number 4 alongside of another of our final 5, Josh Metallic. Grant Wesley and Ulysses Sandoval will make up the top 10. So 3 of our championship 5 up inside of the top 10 here tonight. Bernie Mobbs, he'll be back in row 6 with Cy Jones. Denny Carroll, battling for both the overall championship and the Bracket Challenge Championship tonight. He'll be back in position 13. Outside of row 7 with him will be Dennis McCarthy. Hank Middleton and Glenn Harris, they're back in row 8. Row 9, Bobby Farrell running a special tribute scheme that we'll highlight later on this evening. He shares row 9 with Greg Palmer. Completing the top 20 will be Randy Waugh,
Luigi,
and Bob Seminara. Row 11 is going to find Mike Mangialardi and Doug Hulick. Rodney Sullivan's back in row 12 with Jeff Crivello. Row 13, John Godfrey and Greg Lovell. Row 14, going to be Mark Paglia and our own broadcast colleague Michael Norman behind the wheel here tonight. Brian Schilling, he's got a lot of work to do. He is the furthest back of the final 5 here tonight. He's back in row 15 alongside of David Little. Row 16 finds Dante Ricky and Tim Nofsker. Row 17 with Robert Breedlove and Richard Martin, the only non-playoff driver to win during the postseason so far. Keith Bynum, he's back in row 18 with Cody Lamas. Brian Ross and Robert Spring, they make up row 19, and completing your 39-car field here tonight will be Billy Elliser. So there you go. 34 X factors, if you will, that could play a huge part into the outcome of who's going to get crowned the season 66 Talladega Challenge Series champion. Also the last race on Thursday nights that we'll be seeing the NXS 20 CTS mod on the racetrack, as they'll be migrating their way back over to the Men Cup 2019 mod. Seen a lot of work by Rodney Sullen showcased in the Rolling Thunder Gaming Facebook page. A lot of throwback schemes that we're going to be seeing during the course of that season. And for everybody that's wondering, got some exciting news. We are going to be covering the upcoming 67th season of the Talladega Challenge Series. The Simulcast with Tarnation TV and FRN will return to bring you that brand new season. So looking forward to that.
Yes, sir. Let's do it. So I guess before the race started, we got word from Rodney Sullins. By the way, thank you, Rodney, for the sponsorship with He's in cahoots with Red Line Performance Motorsports to sponsor all these broadcasts, so that's super cool. Our boy Norman back there causing a ruckus. Anyway, he let us know that we will be doing a silent lap number 16 this evening.
Yes. Yeah,
That's
we ended
for
up
the tragedy that struck Greg Biffle's family and his little crew on the plane there that went down.
Yeah, the whole NASCAR world kind of fell into a bit of a hushed silence on social media when that announcement came out. There was no confirmation who was on the plane or anything like that, and then was just hoping, praying it wasn't going to be the worst. Unfortunately, we ended up getting that news. So, yep, a lot of old school NASCAR fans, obviously, here in this race, and the Biff was a big part of a lot of people's lives when they were following NASCAR back from, what was his career? It was the late
year was
90s, I think.
His rookie year, and I think the first year he ran trucks was, I want to say 1998, and then 98 or 99. He
retired in what,
2017, 16?
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, because our family, we used to watch a lot of NASCAR in the late 90s and the 2000s, and he's always been there. I was like looking at the story going, what? And then sure enough, Googled it up, clicked on the news tab, and everybody had a story about it. So,
yeah, the first ever Cup race that I went to was back in 2005 at the Michigan International Speedway in June of that year, and Greg Biffle happened to win that race.
Oh, cool.
Honestly, I wasn't a huge fan of him at the time, but you never want to see, news of what happened today, and I just.
Yeah, they were saying there were 7 people, I think, in the plane. Him, his wife, his kids, and then obviously the pilot. Probably just going on a business trip.
Well,
they actually were on their way down to Sarasota, Florida. They were going to meet up with Garrett Mitchell, Cletus McFarlane. We're going to be at a race that he was going to be participating in. I think it was tomorrow.
Oh, damn.
Just a really sad story. I mean, exactly 1 week before Christmas, and then an entire family lost in a plane crash. That's just.
Yeah, they said they took off and they pretty quickly turned around to bring it back, and obviously that just went straight down.
So obviously, as Blaine alluded to, we will be having a silent lap 16 in honor and memory of Greg Biffle and his family. Sure that there were a couple of drivers that thought this evening of maybe scrambling to get a Greg Biffle paint scheme put together. I guarantee you we probably will have a Biff scheme in season 67.
I always remember back in the, back during the mid 2000s NASCAR race day, how they'd always make their picks on who they thought was going to win that particular race. John Roberts, notorious, came up with the phrase "stick with the Biff." That's just something I'll never forget about that.
And then everybody that watched Back to the Future was like, the Biff?
Yeah.
Well, here we go, guys. 66 laps to determine the champion of season 66, the Talladega Challenge Series. Great launch there for Jeremy Jeffries on that outside line. Let's see if the inside can pull back alongside of him here through the center of the corner. But, Jeremy Jeffries, as we mentioned, got eliminated in that first round. Not going to be able to defend his championship from a season ago, so he is all caution to the wind tonight. He is full sail ahead.
Looks like Jeremy got a little bit too good of a start there. Jumped out ahead right there, way ahead of the car right behind him. The 77 of Donnie Garrett had no drafting help for a little bit there.
Garrett leads for the moment. Clear of both lanes. Off of turn 4. And I was going to say, looks like he's going to lead the first lap, but look at that charge on that top side. Jeremy Jeffries going to snipe it. Coming off that victory this past Monday night in the 2025 Happy Holidays 200.
Looks like they're already trying to get a third lane going. And you see one of our championship contenders is leading it. That's the 4 of Brian Schilling.
He started 31st off the grid, furthest back of the Championship 5. So no surprise to see him trying to gain that track position as quickly as he possibly can. He does have a lot of help back there. I believe that was Doug Hewlick I saw up there behind him. No correction, Dante Ricky. Richard Martin's up there, and Rodney Sullivan's just jumped up in front of the 4 to try moving that line forward as well. We talk about drivers that are still looking for that first win of the season. Got some early candidates right now. Terry started on the pole.
To your cars.
See Litzy Sandoval back there. He was a multi-time winner last season. Not in the championship hunt this season. Donnie Garrett still looking for his first win. Pat McCarskey back there. Cy Jones. There's a list as long as your arm there that they'd love to cap off the season with a checkered flag. Still looking for that first one.
Joe DeSpirito had lots of taking the lead there. Went from the outside to the inside. Was leading that inside line for a split second before Donnie Garrett jumped down in front of him to lead the race.
Now remember, for Donnie, yes, there is a 0 in the win column, but his goal tonight is very simple. Stay ahead of the Sterling Marlin throwback of Denny Carroll. If he does that, he wins the bracket challenge.
That far outside line, they really made up a lot of ground there in a hurry. You see Kelly Causey now the leader of that line.
Dennis McCarthy right behind him. Then Rodney, Brian, Dante, who have all been trying to get that third line going pretty much since the drop of the green flag. And as you said, they've made tremendous progress up in that third lane. Drawing back the middle line, inside line getting a little bit of a surge here with this 3-wide racing. Garrett, DeSpirito, possibly Bombard going to be clear. They go through turn 1. Chuck McClure trying to do the same.
See these cars kind of bouncing around a little bit. I don't know if there's an issue with the server or something, but they don't.
I think that might be Spectator.
Or is it on our end?
Yeah, I think it's on Spectator. I don't know what it is. In the corners, cars always go side to side on Spectator cam. Then they settle out on the straightaway. Caution, I believe, is out. Yes, it is. Saw these drivers fanning out here. We've got a bit of a parking lot over there in the middle of 1 and 2. I'm sorry, that's 3 and 4.
Looked like Harris got down on the apron. A little bit of help, I believe.
He was running in the middle of this pack in that middle line as well.
Him and the 2-car get together, it looks like. And
hard to tell if Hank Middleton thought he was clear to come up, or if he just pushed up on the entry to the corner. I think he thought he was clear, maybe. Heavy contact there for the 92 of Bobby Farrell. It's a shame because we were going to highlight his race car. The very familiar red and blue STP colors that we formerly saw in the 143 of Bob Dixon. Bobby Farrell running that scheme in tribute to Bob Dixon here tonight. A Bernie Mobbs paint.
It's a very nice tribute.
Also saw 74 of Robert Spring, the 21 of Randy Waugh.
Luigi.
Elected up in that wreck. Like the 92 got the worst of it, though, as he's got some pretty significant damage to the back bumper of that car. Have to see if he'll be able to remain up to speed. It's open, just about everybody coming down pit road with the exception of about 3. That's McCarthy going to stay out.
Chuck McClure and Donnie Garrett almost getting together there.
Now, we mentioned about the fact that for the final 5, there's no bonus point for leading a lap, no bonus point for most laps led that comes into play. It's whoever of the 5 finishes the highest here tonight. That's not necessarily the case for everybody else. There are drivers that are still battling for 15th in points, 18th in points, 20th in points, what have you, that tonight they'd like to finish the highest they possibly can. Consider this, at the start of next season, if you are inside of the top 30 in the point standings, you are guaranteed to make, I believe it is, the first 3 races of the season. You're locked in. And there are a lot of drivers hovering just above and just below that cut line, including Cy Jones, Robert Breedlove, Robert Spring, Cody Lamas, and the driver that is leading this lap, Dennis McCarthy. So that is the importance of these bonus points for laps led for those drivers, because they want the guaranteed starts in the first few races of the oncoming new season.
Like we said at the beginning of the broadcast, there's always something to race for everybody out there.
Like Terry Bombard with that number 1 pit stall was able to take the race lead of those that pitted. Oh, nope, correction. Joe DeSpirito. Nope, never mind. Thought it was Terry, and then I think he threw in the clutch and Joe went around him. Now he gets his position back, does the 10, so he'll be the leader when we go back green. It's like DeSpirito, McClure, Jeffries, and Metallic are going to be the top 5 when we turn them back loose. Oh, well, actually, never mind. Thought we might have another lap of pacing here, but Robert Breedlove and Jeff Crivello with this early yellow are going to elect to stay out, be a little bit off sequence with everybody else fuel-wise, and they will actually be the front rows. So Terry, first off of pit road, will instead line up in 3rd with DeSpirito and McClure going to be the top 5 on this restart.
It's an interesting strategy there by Breedlove and the 36 of Crivello there.
I mean, when you aren't in the battle for the championship, when you're not a playoff contender, being the last race of the season, why not try something a little unorthodox? You never know the timing that the cautions potentially could fall. Something could work out. Do a little experimentation. Throw something against the wall, see if it sticks. What do you got to lose?
Yeah, exactly.
Does Flat Out Racing Network have any big races coming up? Tomorrow we got to do the All-Star race at the Primetime Racing League.
Yeah, I was noticing you've got some stuff coming up there, Blaine. No, as far as I'm aware, this is going to be the last broadcast for the 2025 year on FRN.
And we've got SMO Gaming Simulations, their New Year's Dash and Bash. The anything goes doubleheader. No cautions, no damage, and pretty much no rules. It's if you want to win, basically just wreck everybody and try to get to the front first. That's pretty cool. It's fun. They do that every year.
That just sounds like a recipe for chaos.
It is. That's the point. It's a fun race.
It also sounds like therapy.
Yeah.
You got some pent-up frustration? Yep. Show up and race there.
The Dash and Bash. And there's 2 races that they do. I think it's 100 laps in the first race. There's short tracks, too. So
sounds like it might be a cause for therapy. I mean, that's...
That's January 4th, that one. So good start by Crivello.
Breedlove's going to get that inside advantage, though. Good push from Terry Bombard. See if he can clear up, or can Crivello, with the help of Despirito, get to that right rear quarter panel. Looks like he will. Yeah, I was just checking there with Robert Breedlove. Mentioned about the fact that he's down there in that fight to get up into the top 30 in points. It's super close. Right now, Robert Spring is the cut line driver coming this evening. 30th in points. Breedlove was only 2 above the cut line. Cody Lamas -1. Dennis McCarthy -2. So you got 4 drivers right there, separated by only 4 points. That's going to be a fun battle to watch here this evening as well. So you can get those final locked-in spots on owner points into next season. Well, it looks like all 5 of our championship drivers have now made their way into the top 15. Brian Schilling's done a great job since the drop of the green flag, working his way from outside of the top 30 to now almost inside of the top 10. Unofficially, he's around the 12th position. Denny Carroll around 10th. Metallic right now roughly in the 7th position, with McLaurin 6th, Despirito in 3rd. So they're all up here in the same vicinity. That always seems to be the way it works out in these super speedway races. Whoever you're battling, you're usually going to find them in that area of the pack.
Whether it be for the championship or for the bracket championship. I mean, that's...
And Donnie Garrett right there as well, yeah.
Donnie Garrett and Denny Carroll, not too far from each other. So, I mean, there you go. There's your battle for everything right there.
Looks like as now we've gotten up to full song. 92 of Bobby Farrell is off the pace. He's lost the draft, and looks like Glenn Harris might also be in danger of doing the same. So 37 of the 39 drivers that took the green flag are right now up in this lead pack and appear to be at full song. Nice photo finish there at the line between Crivello and Robert Breedlove. Scoring says it was Breedlove that actually got it. Visibly, I thought it was Crivello.
That's what I thought too, yeah.
Scoring says it was zeros across the board between the two of them. So we would have had to go to the 10,000th to figure out who led that lap.
Wouldn't be the first time we'd have to do that for a finish this season.
Nope. Three wide towards the back of the pack. Saw Cy Jones in the middle there. This is Sandoval on the bottom. Dave Little up on the top side in the 83. I think you remarked before we came on the air, Kyle, a Cale Yarborough throwback.
Yeah, that Hardy's car that Cale had from 83 till the end of his career in 88. Won a couple Daytona 500s at that paint scheme.
Right behind him, you got Hank Middleton in the 2 car, running the Champions car, I guess you could say, from this season. Jesse Love, the 2025 Xfinity Series champion. I'm going to have such a difficult time next season calling it the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series. I had a tough enough time when they went to Xfinity not calling it the Nationwide Series.
I'm still trying not to call it the Bush series. I mean, it's like,
What do they say? Call it whatever you want. Just don't call it late for dinner.
yeah, there you go.
Lap number 14. We're getting up there. Lap number 16 here in the next couple.
Yeah,
That's
and
the
keep
thing
an eye here on the 36 and the 931, because as we start to approach lap 18, 19, 20, we're getting into that range where drivers, if we had gone green since the start, would have had to come to pit road. Remember, those two did not pit. They are leading the respective lines right now, but they are going to have to come to pit lane anywhere from 4 to 6 laps sooner than everybody else. So they're trying to hold their track position for right now, but about 5 laps from now, they're going to have to throw the hand out the window and say, hey, we got to come to pit road. We need some fuel.
That could be a stressful situation, being at the very front of the field, needing to pit.
Third line back there starting to
Oh,
form.
the
Woo!
Spirit's way to the bottom.
Big move there by the Exalta Chevrolet as he'll try and take the lead from Jeff Crivello. Grant Wesley way up the track as he'll pick up Brian Schilling. They're going to tow that third line with Doug Hewlick and company, and Bernie Mobbs will move up there as well. A lot of slicing and dicing. As lap 16 coming up, we're going to take it silent here in honor and memory of Greg Biffle and his family. It looks like this silent lap's going to end under yellow as Joe DeSpirito brings the field down pit road. Greg Lovell with an issue there through the tri-oval. Little stack up, it appeared, on that inside line, the cause and effect of this second yellow of the night.
Now that looked to have happened like right when we started the silent lap. I mean, horrible time for our caution right there, but let's take a look at. Can't tell if there was a stack up there or if the 880 had a problem.
Looked like he definitely checked up. I'm not sure if he made contact with Novsker up ahead of him and it kind of shot his car back, lost him momentum. Too close to tell. He definitely lifted out of the throttle to avoid hitting Novsker in front of him, and then John Godfrey was right behind him.
On board right now at the 880.
Yeah, he definitely made contact with Tim Nosker in front of him there. Not sure where the stack up started, but
Like, fortunately, we got away with only really 3 cars involved and very minimal contact at that, with Lovell, Godfrey, and then a minor tap there afterwards by Robert Spring. A few drivers stay out there under that first lap of caution. Joe DeSpirito came down the leader, left the leader, so he will get us back under green. We might see the lights go out actually on the pace car this time by, because we don't have anybody a lap down, and there you go. Pit road only open twice. The DeSpirito gonna have Terry Bombard to his outside on the front row, then Jeremy Jeffries, Donnie Garrett, Grant Wesley now up into the top 5 for the first time tonight. Metallic, McClure, Doug Hewlick, Robert Breedlove, and Brian Schilling are going to be the top 10. And Denny Carroll, the only other one of the final 5 that we didn't mention, is going to restart in 12th position. So they're all up here. Throw a blanket over those championship drivers.
So what do you think about the change of mod back to the Monster Energy mod? Probably a good call, eh? That's a tried, tested, true favorite.
In my opinion, it's one of the 2 best mods for super speedways in the fact that you know what you've got in terms of hitbox.
Right.
There are so many mods out there where you can pull up behind somebody, or you can pull down alongside of them door to door, and on your screen you're not making contact with them, but the model does not accurately fit the hitbox, and you end up having bumper grab situations or uneven bumps on a straightaway. With the Men Cup 2019, it fits the hitbox perfectly, so you know exactly what you need to do to have an even bump. You know exactly what you need to do to be able to maybe have an accurate door bang if you're coming to the start-finish line to pick up a checkered flag. It's, in my opinion, one of the best mods out there for super speedway racing, so I love it. Plus, it's a little nostalgia because the very first season that we covered here for the Talladega Challenge Series way back, it was the Men Cup 2019 mod, so we're kind of returning to the roots.
So you said that was one of the 2. What's the other one?
TWS 2015 is actually really good.
Okay, yeah, that's a popular one. I was going to say these guys have gone through the truck mods and all that, but yeah, the Camping World mod, that's a good one. I wonder if they're working on a new truck mod.
I've heard that they're working on a new truck mod. I can't recall who it was that was working on that project, but that was a few months ago that I heard that rumor. I have heard no update as of yet.
Yeah, and I know when you check Armory Digital, Mystical has the little progress sliders down the right side of his website, like,
Yep.
Secret project, 85% done. I'm like, what is it? A track, a mod, a sound pack? You don't know. The guy literally does everything. So interesting to see what he's got on the burner too.
I believe that the last Truck Series mod that we got, the CWS 2015 mod, I'm pretty sure that was either Team Omega or a Sim Racing Design mod.
And
I don't
legit,
believe Sim
10
Racing
years.
Design exists anymore, and I don't think Team Omega does either, so I don't know who'd be taking on the project.
Yeah, and who did the Gen 7 mod?
Bullring.
Was it Bullring, the newest one?
Oh, the newest one.
Yeah.
The newest one, I think, was...
What's it called? Frontline Design.
Full Circle Racing
Full
Designs.
Circle. Yes, I was going to say it's FCRD, yeah. Full Circle, yeah. So, maybe they're working on something too, because
Could be.
a lot of these mod teams, man, every time, a team makes a mod and maybe the team falls apart, but then there's like Full Circle, like Armory Digital, just raising the bar, I don't know how they do some of the stuff they do, but just when you think you've seen it all, a bunch of these technical mod creators, they all band together and come up with something, find out a new way to push this engine even farther.
That Men Cup 2019 mod that we'll be going to next season was a design of Splash and Go graphics.
Okay, yeah.
Driver I used to race back in the day, back when FTF existed, and Sim Racing Association, Cosmin Ishinoshu, I believe that's how you pronounce his name. There were so many pronunciations for his name, I don't think anybody ever got it actually correct.
I never even tried to pronounce his last name. I just knew him as Cosmin. That's it.
Yeah,
Brian Schilling back up on that third line again. You mentioned about the truck mod that they used to have here. Remember him running a blue and yellow Square D truck. And he always, whenever we took the green, whether it was for a start or a restart, you could always count on Brian Schilling to be up there in that third line, whether it was leading it or just trying to organize something. Doing that again here tonight, as he has been high, wide, and handsome pretty much every lap of this race, just trying to gain track position, get up here to the front. When we talked to him a couple of weeks ago, when he picked up that victory to advance his way here into the final 5 out of the round of 8, he said it was nice to win a race where he was able to be full throttle, playing defense rather than having to rely on clutching and saving fuel. Looks like he is trying to do that exact same thing here tonight. Full go for that Kodak throwback paint scheme.
That was a dominating victory he had, too. Talking about that race, I forget how many laps he led exactly, but I think it was like 3/4 of the race or something.
Yeah.
Like he was out front. I don't think anybody ever passed him like under green flag conditions. I think the only time he lost the lead was during pit stops.
Well, the third line just fell apart.
Josh Metallic and Doug Hewlick all by their lonesome up there, and that's one of our final 5 drivers there in Metallic going backwards.
They were about 7 strong up there, and they all migrated back down.
Not
Another
sure
one of
if
our-
that didn't... Sorry, Kyle, go ahead.
I was just going to say another one of our final 5 competitors is out front right now. The first of those drivers to lead tonight, that being the 24 of Joe DeSpirito. I know there's no bonus. I know they don't get any bonus points for leading a lap tonight, but that's got to be, I don't know, maybe some sort of psychological game that they could be playing with each other. I mean, they see one of the championship contenders out front.
Hey, if the goal is to finish ahead of your competition, there's no higher position to be than first. So you know where they all are.
Mm-hmm. See Chuck McClure, another one right there, running in the 4th position. Denny Carroll, 2 cars behind him.
So right now you've got 3 of the championship 5 up inside of the top 6. Both Josh Metallic and Brian Schilling, after not being able to get that third line going, have faded back. Schilling's just inside of the top 15. Metallic is trying to stay inside of the top 20. Scoring had him 24th last time by. And I noticed when that third line was coming around out of the tri-oval, about a lap prior to it evaporating, there was a big shove, a big chain bump that took place, and Metallic got a little sideways. I'm not sure if maybe that little loss of momentum might have been the difference maker that ended up breaking that second and third line apart and dropping those 2 championship hopefuls outside of the top or out of the top 10, top 15 right now.
Now here comes Jeremy Jeffries. He's got help from Grant Wesley and Chuck McClure. Jeffries is going to take the lead. The Spirits are going to be back on the inside, and now he's got Terry Bombard right behind him.
A couple of XFM teammates working together there, in Jeffries and Wesley. Neither battling for the championship now. Jeremy eliminated in the first round. Grant eliminated in the last elimination race. Had a second place performance in the first race of the round of 8. Was hoping that was enough points to lock him into the final 4, as he was not there for the elimination race. Was at the Gateway Dirt Nationals, but unfortunately he didn't garner enough points. Would have loved that golden ticket the week prior. So now 2 drivers that are former champions of the series, looking to close out the season with an exclamation point heading into season 67.
And now they're getting a third line going again on that outside, and who's leading it? None other than Brian Schilling.
Got Ulysses Sandoval up there with him. Rodney Sullins, Josh Metallic. There's Brian Rosslin up there as well in the 6. He started out back and has worked his way steadily forward. Same for Richard Martin. He started towards the rear of the field too, and he's on the inside line, right behind the 41 of Denny Carroll. Only non-playoff driver to go to victory lane during the postseason.
Now Chuck McClure making a move for the race lead.
Whew. Look at the movement up here at the front. We
Boy,
are slam drafting right now. Come on, guys. We're not even halfway.
There's a chain reaction right there. I thought something was going to break out there, but some aggressive bumping going on up front.
I think they're racing for a championship or something.
Yeah, you know, I'm starting to get that feeling.
Yeah. Letting everybody know you're there.
Tim Nofsker's now made his way up here, third on that outside line. We saw him back during that second caution. He was towards the tail end of the mid-pack area. Now has made his way up forward, pushing Grant Wesley and Jeremy Jeffries on that top side. Ooh, Dante Ricky with his hands full there with a bump from Donnie Garrett. Almost went up into the driver's side door of that nationwide throwback of Nosker.
Once again, the 88 and the 088 right with each other. Just like I keep saying about how the numbers work in this series.
Outside line continues to get that momentum they need to keep Jeremy Jeffries out in front. Trying to tow Grant Wesley and Nofsker and Schilling clear of Chuck McClure, who continues to battle on that inside line with help from Ricky and Garrett. It's like for the most part, they've given up on a third line. There is a third lane way back there with Pat McCarskey and company, but that's outside of the top 25 right now. Everybody up here at the front intend to run side by side, 2 by 2. And that continues to give the advantage to that middle groove.
Now Nofsker jumps to the bottom, right in front of Brian Schilling. He's going to be side by side with Wesley. Might get the lead here, too.
Yeah, with Nofsker and Schilling jumping down in front of Chuck McClure, that now has Schilling leading the championship standings over Chuck. 17 kind of boxed in right now. A lot of these moves that we're seeing here, and maybe the same when we get towards the end of this race, while it may look like it's an offensive move, I think that was a little both offensive and defense. Yep, go to the bottom so that way you're, when we eventually get to a potential round of green flag pit stops, you got that easier access, but at the same time too, keep the 17 right behind you. Nowhere to go. He can't go to the top side. He has to stay pinned to the yellow line. He's got no choice but to stay on your back bumper in your rearview mirror.
Speaking of pit stops, we saw somebody come down pit road. It looked like the 29 at first glance.
You are correct, Mike Mangialardi. Kevin Harvick throwback. A little early to be coming to pit lane there. So as we documented last week, our measuring stick of when drivers were going to be coming to pit road was always Bob Dixon. He'd come to pit road a lap or two prior. And I mentioned that there were a few drivers I noticed adopting that same strategy, like Mangialardi and Robert Spring. Does not look like that's actually the case here, though, for Mangialardi, as he completed his service, and he's actually now taking his car back behind the walls. So Mangialardi in the season finale will finish in the 39th position.
Now we got Ulysses Sandoval now to the inside looking for the lead. Getting help from Tim Nofsker.
Mangialardi came into this evening 21st in points, so he should be safe to lock into the top 30. And you mentioned Sandoval, he's actually one position behind Mangialardi coming in tonight. 20 points in arrears, 22nd in the standings, but finish up inside the top half of this field, he could end up finishing out the season overall 21st in points. I believe we went back green to the completion of 18 onto 19. So we're looking roughly about 3 to 4 laps from now. These drivers have it to come to pit lane, and not only during the playoffs, but even down the home stretch, the second half of the regular season, how many times did we see playoff opportunities both rise and fall due to pit road itself, whether it was mistakes by the drivers speeding or mistakes by others maybe making contact or spinning or bumping somebody. I mean, that has got to be in the back of the mind of all 5 of these championship drivers. You're not only relying on doing everything perfectly in terms of execution on pit road here, but you are relying on everybody else around you as well.
As if making a green flag pit stop wasn't stressful enough as it is.
Yeah.
Thing week in and week out, sometimes it's flawless every time. Other times there's mistakes made, and Bob Dixon had a great strategy. Get in there a couple laps before everybody else, and you might just dodge the tornado.
And see, this is the stress, too, of it being a one-race finale. You go back to the system that they have in place originally with 2 races in the final round. You make a pit road mistake in the first race of that round, then you at least know where you stand if there is any mathematical possibility to come back the next week and still have a shot at the championship. Here tonight, you make a mistake, you're pretty much done. You're going to have to rely on a lot of things to go your way to get back in contention. As here we go. Oh, Jeremy! Way too hot. Locks him up.
Yeah. This is a
lot
wider
of
pit
cars
road,
coming
and they still want to use the grass.
A lot of cars on pit road this first time out.
For the playoff drivers, I see the 41 of Denny Carroll and the 77 of Donnie Garrett, so the 2 drivers battling for the bracket challenge, all coming down on the same lap. Looks like Denny might be the only one of the championship drivers, so the championship 5 that pit. The other 4 all staying out and all in close proximity there. 2nd, 3rd, 5th, and 6th right now, and I think they're all pitting together this time by.
Yep.
Oh, Brian
Rawson.
Russell
Brian
into the
Rawson.
wall. And that created a wall right in front of a bunch of other drivers, including Keith Bynum and Greg Palmer.
So Cody Lamas and Greg Palmer got together.
Gonna have to see if these drivers got those cars woed down. There were a lot of smoking tires on both of those groups coming to pit road.
What were we just talking about? The pressure everybody's feeling making a green flag pit stop?
I mean, they're gonna have to make one more pit stop between now and the finish of the race, but this probably had all the pressure of the money pit stop. And they're gonna have to do it again if we continue to trend green. Brian Schilling right now is the leader. We'll see if he cycles out as such. As a bunch of drivers just came off of pit lane, Grant Wesley is the driver up to speed, leading a group of 5, flanked by Ulysses Sandoval. Like Dante Ricky, Donnie Garrett, Denny Carroll in that group. And they're going to have a full head of steam on the inside line. This should propel Grant to the race lead here by the time they get to turn 1.
Pat McCarskey has retired.
Looks like he'll be the second retiree of the evening, joining Mike Mangialardi.
And those pit stops really broke up the field.
Karski came into tonight's 38th in points, one top 10 on the season, so he'll be a driver next season if they end up having knockout qualifying that will be fighting in the first couple of races to lock himself into the field on speed.
Got about a dozen or so cars in this lead draft. We got a second pack. Much bigger second pack behind them.
That's currently being led by the 21 of Randy Waugh.
Luigi.
Got Robert Breedlove there, Billy Elliser. We haven't talked much about Michael Norman tonight.
I've been keeping an eye on him. I've noticed they've been really hanging him out of the draft a lot. I've seen he's been running in the middle, and I've noticed a lot of times he hasn't had a lot of people behind him in the middle here lately. So,
but he's in 15th. He's in this second pack, which means that he was able to hot pit. That's not the Michael Norman we know. Two things we know. Michael Norman, Joshua Mercurio cannot hot pit. So who is this in the 998?
Well, he's doing a solid job so far. This is, I believe, the third time he's ran in this series. I know he ran a couple of races. I think it was last season.
Yep.
When we weren't able to broadcast. And
right now, all 5 of our championship hopefuls are in this lead pack, all scored inside of the top 10. Ryan Schilling right now would be the unofficial champion as he runs in 3rd. Joe DeSpirito just a couple of cars behind in 5th. Chuck McClure 7th. Josh Metallic right now in 9th with Denny Carroll in 10th. 11 drivers in this lead pack. Just checking the speeds of this pack in relation to that second pack back there. It's fairly even. Not much advantage to one pack or the other.
Yeah, they've been sitting around 3-second gap on that second pack. Hasn't really changed much.
Saw the one of Jeremy Jeffries really lock them up and spun out into the grass. He's all by his lonesome now in the 34th position. I'm not certain. I don't believe that he got a 30-second penalty because he did make the commitment cone, and I'm amazed he got that thing woed up to pit road speed because he was at 107 miles per hour when he crossed the commitment line and somehow was able to keep his foot on the brake until it got to 55 miles per hour. That might have been why we saw him spin out, because he had those rear tires locked up a ton. But he and quite a number of other drivers now are clamoring for a caution to get back into this thing. Robert Spring, Dennis McCarthy, Jeff Crivello, Cy Jones, David Little, Mark Paglia would fall into that category. And then you've got drivers that are battling to stay the first car one lap down to get one of the 2 available lucky dogs. Right now, those spots would go to Glenn Harris and Brian Rawson, who just went a lap down on that previous lap.
you see Jeffries not too far ahead of the leaders right now.
Yep.
Too. He's back there with the 92.
He'll more than likely get bypassed, if not this lap, the following lap. Bobby Farrell off the pace after being involved in the first caution of the night. He was 2 laps down, now make it 3 laps down.
Jeffries has nobody to draft with either. They're going to easily catch him right now. That is a helpless feeling right there.
Of the weekly series for RTG, this is the last one to wrap up. All the other ones wrapped up last week. Grant Wesley taking the championship on Monday nights in the Bare Bones Racing Series. Doug Cady brought home the Challenger Championship. And then on Wednesday nights, it was Jeff Supta taking the championship. Bobby Farrell brought home the Challenger Championship. So Mondays and Wednesdays have been determined. Tonight we determine the Thursday night championship here for season 66. And next time by, we'll be closing in on 20 laps to go. These drivers do have to make one more trip to pit road here. And we're looking at that final pit stop potentially placed within the 10 to 15 laps to go range. So there's a bit of a window as to when you want to make that final pit stop.
No pressure.
Not at all.
And probably no tires. Well, maybe one side.
It depends on if you lock them up, I think. If you're going
Yeah.
with just, again, to a can and a half, then I think you're going with no tires. I don't think you're going to have to take on 2 cans of fuel to make it the rest of the way. I'm seeing roughly, my math is correct, a lot of these drivers... Oh, someone just blew up! Dante Ricky just blew up in the middle of the pack! Just threw in the clutch. Let's see if this doesn't bring out a yellow.
He's off the line.
Yep, offline. He's thrown in the clutch to make sure that won't be a debris yellow. The question is, will he be able to twist this around to pit road?
Smoking again.
This might bring out a debris caution. We'll have to see
Still
here.
green so far.
Yeah, I'm thinking if he stays off the racing line, he's probably going to be all right.
Think we're good. Boy, it takes a lot of discipline there to know immediately to throw in the clutch.
So that's the trick, eh? To stop it from bleeding all over the place.
Yep. If you throw in the clutch, then the game will not recognize that you are dropping debris, and it will not throw the yellow. So great job there by Dante. What a tough break, though. Runs a part-time schedule here on Thursday nights. Was up here inside of the top 10. I believe he was in the 8th position at the time, and a random engine
11th.
failure with less than 20 to go.
You don't see too many of those, but I've had that happen to me a couple of times. It's a real deflated feeling.
Great move though, for him to get out of that quick. That's crazy. Really
Yeah.
good.
Not only to have the wherewithal to be able to get down and out of the way, because he could have easily had a stack up there. He had cars behind him, but then as stated, threw in the clutch. Make sure that we continue to run this race under green. I think
See-
maybe one of the biggest heartbreaks I've ever seen in a random blow-up. We did a broadcast on a Saturday evening. It was a series that ran 2 races during the course of a night. And Rodney Sullins, first race from 3rd place, second race from the lead, had
Yeah.
a random blow-up on both nights.
I think we
Or
were
on both
broadcasting that.
Crazy.
We were talking about pit strategy when it comes down to tires. We forget that also the pit crew can make mistakes. So if you just opt out of no tires at all, then they can't make a tire mistake.
Well, we talked about that incredible veteran move there to make sure that this race remained under green, but a tough
Yeah.
break for Dante Ricky, and I believe we've actually got him dialed up. Dante, you got us?
Hi, Seth. Hi, Blaine. Oh, man.
Good evening.
What a way to spend this race. I mean, we were having a good run. Great pit stop. Worked well with Ulysses and Grant and just got hung out. And I don't know. I hope something changes next season with the Men Cups. I feel like that it's real hard to pull the work with you in the draft. It's a tough thing out here. But we had a lot of fun. The 84 car was fast.
Well, that's certainly good to hear. We hate the fact that you're done for the night so early. As you mentioned, great execution there up in this lead pack with a shot of closing out the season with a checkered flag. I mean, obviously, we're up here just trying to visibly gauge what's going on. Oh, we got trouble in the back. Robert Breedlove's going around. He collects Bernie Mobbs. Bob Seminara got a piece, and that's going to bring out the yellow that a lot of drivers needed. Or is it? I believe we're still green.
How? That is... We are still green. Wow.
Wow. We had a car turned up into the outside wall. We've seen incidents off turn 2 where drivers spin down below the yellow line, doesn't bring out a yellow. That was not the case here, so I don't know how we are still under green flag conditions.
Yeah, really. Especially considering where this happened. It happened in front of a dozen cars.
Breedlove and Mobs, they have gotten rolling again here, but
They were in that second pack. I don't know how much that's going to affect that second pack trying to run down this lead group here.
well, they've lost numbers. They were a pack of about 7 or 8. Now they're down to 5.
It's crazy because even Mobs skirted across the track and then came back. Weird. 2 cars obstructing other cars and stay green.
I think everybody and their mother thought that brought the caution out, but
As we stand to green, I'll ask you again here, Dante. I'll try and get the full question out this time. Obviously, you were up there. You were battling with those 5 drivers that are battling for the championship. Since the drop of the green flag, were you able to get a read of what the intensity level is here for those drivers? Did it seem like they were maybe a little bit more laid back and then the intensity picked up as the race went on? Or was it full go, did it seem, for everybody when the green flag came out here?
High intensity, guys. I mean, right from the beginning, if you're not paying attention, staying focused, you got to make those lane changes quickly and fast. And if you're not in here every week, it's just way harder to do it. Real quick, though, 84 car was a rocket. It was one of the best I've had. And I just wish we could have made it to the finish. But, hey, we got next season. I plan to run a few more races. I want to say thank you to all my friends and family. And I'm very sad about Greg Biffle's situation. Rest in peace to him, his family, and everyone affected. He was a good man. I joined him on a podcast 1.5 years ago. And I pray for everyone involved. But guys, keep up the good work here, and we'll see you next season.
Well, we appreciate it, Dante. Thanks for taking the time to talk with us. We hate the fact that you're out this early, but hey, maybe some better luck coming your way here in the upcoming 67th season.
Thanks, Seth. Thanks, Blake. Thanks, Michael, for helping me out there in the pits. Good luck.
Thanks, Dante.
Dante, unfortunately, going to be finishing 36th here tonight. He is one of 4 drivers that are so far not going to reach the conclusion. We ended up having, I believe, on the same lap that he had the engine failure, Brian Rawson brought his machine to pit lane and made the left-hand turn to the garage area. So he'll finish 37th. Pat McCarsky and Mike Mangialardi also out of the race here tonight.
well, we're closing in on that 10 to go mark. Talked about that's probably when the window's going to open here for this final round of pit stops.
If they can get to the completion of lap 56, they'll be able to make it on a can of fuel. But if they're just short of reaching that mark, they're going to have to come down for a can and a half. Some might be risky. Some might go for just the can and maybe see if they could catch a yellow in the closing stages and maybe do what DMAR did a few weeks ago, be able to clutch and save fuel under pacing to make it the rest of the way. I'm seeing some radios light up. I believe that our leader is amongst those. Grant's coming in, Bernie Mobs, Breedlove, Schilling's coming in. I think most of our lead pack is coming down this time, including that bright neon yellow Quaker State Toyota Supra.
All right, well, this is the money stop right here. Oh, somebody locked a couple.
Tight squeeze.
Despirito.
Not
Ronnie Sullen's got
too
into his
bad.
left rear quarter panel. He saved it, did Despirito, but that's a lot of track position lost, and I don't know if that's a guarantee that he'll leave with that lead pack or not.
It's the first of our championship contenders to have any sort of trouble here tonight.
Well, Grant overshot his stall. That could be costly for him. I believe we had most of our championship drivers come in. I think one driver may have stayed out, and that was Denny Carroll. He's all by his lonesome here, but he may have the safest entry to pit road this next time by.
Not a bad strategy, honestly. I mean, yeah, you want to pit with some people. You don't really. It's not ideal to pit by yourself at Talladega, but at least you're not going to get caught up in anything pitting by yourself.
Gets it down to 55 miles per hour. Looks like Michael Norman also stayed out. Here comes a big pack behind him with Hewlick, Lamas. I believe these are drivers that were back in a third group after that cycle of the first green flag pit stops. Ryan Schilling looks like He got off of pit road first of the drivers of that first group, and one driver that is not with him is Grant Wesley. That overshooting his pit stall, having to back up, looks like it has cost him an opportunity, at least at this point, of winning this race. And Carroll leaving pit road there with McCarthy, but I don't know if he's going to stay up in this lead group. We may have just 5 championship drivers in the lead group down to 3. Jeff Crivello just retired out of the race. Mark Paglia, black flag for speeding on pit road. We'll be seeing the 28 making his way back down pit lane here momentarily.
It's got to be an awkward feeling for Ulysses Sandoval. He is surrounded by championship contenders right now.
And right now for Donnie Garrett, in a good spot. Currently in the 5th position. Long ways ahead of Denny Carroll, who right now is in the 2nd pack. Blanked by
Black flag.
Gordon
Carroll.
Carr out front.
Denny
Oh.
Carroll with a black flag?
Yep, that
Boy.
just came over. You're right. Oh, wow. And he pit by himself. Had nobody behind him, nobody in front of him, had maybe the easiest opportunity of making sure he got that car woed down and maybe just try to get a little too much. I almost wonder, with the fact that everybody came to pit road and he was by his lonesome, he felt that he had to go that little extra bit to make up time, knowing that his outlap with nobody around him was going to be slightly slower than all the other championship drivers that came down in one big pack. Hagley is also on pit lane, serving his black flag penalty. But barring any caution coming out, and it would have to be sooner rather than later, Donnie Garrett is in good shape to take the Bracket Challenge Championship with Carroll having to pit. Now, the question is, if we go green to the end, or at least get ourselves into that point of no return, is it Schilling, McClure, or Metallic that's going to win this championship? Right now, they make up 75% of the top 4, and the highest finisher is going to win the championship. Right now, we said it coming in. Champion doesn't have to win the race, but right now, with where those 3 are positioned, it almost seems like it is a must-win situation for them.
Yeah, because it's 1-2 right now.
That's a pretty big gap
1, 2,
they
3.
have. That's a pretty big gap that this top 5 have, including the lap car of Jeremy Jeffries all the way back to the 6th place car, which I believe is Joe DeSpirito.
6 seconds in arrears, though, for the 24 car. And I don't believe he's got enough drivers with him or enough laps on the board to be able to run down that lead group.
Looks like we are clear on black flags. Everybody has served their penalties and didn't get any new ones. Sometimes that'll happen. Got to do a drive-through penalty and speed again, and then they're going to make you stop the next time.
We haven't put a whole lot of
What's going
emphasis
on
on
down
laps
there?
led here tonight, as obviously, as we mentioned, it's not really going to play into the championship. Oh,
Smoke Cody Lamas off
Lamas?
the pace.
yeah.
Did he
Like he
spin
might have-
out?
I think he might have gotten
It's
turned
about
to the
3 or
back
4
straightaway,
cars.
possibly.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Ellisor
Oh,
is
there was a
up and
lot of cars. We had a
rolling.
flip.
Yeah.
Billy
Ellisor.
Elliser in the 26 went up and over.
Well, what?
Same thing. That
Wow,
the line got out of shape, and wow, he got into that inside wall.
Don't know
Like
what happened
Cody
there.
may have given an uneven bump to Kelly Causey as they were moving low. It sends the 0-0 up into Elliser, and Elliser caught air. Now this is kind of what we were talking about back with the Robert Breedlove incident prior to that round of green flag pit stops. All this took place down below the yellow line. Granted, there's a flip, so you would certainly think a caution would come out for that, but that's all down below the yellow line. The incident we saw with the 931 and a couple of other drivers, that was up on the racing surface. So the fact that that didn't bring out a yellow is shocking. This one here, I mean, I guess it kind of makes sense, but you wouldn't expect a super speedway that an airborne race car would still keep us under green flag conditions. As Metallic trying to make a move up there for the lead, we are now in the point of no return. Lap 62 has been complete. Next flag is going to end this race because we do have lap machines.
Yeah, hard to believe that you can stand the car up on the headlights and drag it about 100 yards and hit the wall, and there's no yellow flag. But
A hot dog wrapper lands on the racing surface. That'll bring the caution out.
yeah,
I think Ulysses might want to give out his PayPal right now in chat. See who wants to pay him the big bucks to help push them to this win. Because right now, he and Donnie Garrett, they're kind of the X factors. You could also throw out Jeremy Jeffries back there as well, lap machine. I mean, Schilling, McClure, Metallic, they know they've got to finish ahead of each other in order to win this championship. And you're going to need allies. You're going to need friends to do it.
Out of 39 drivers that started this race, only 5 of them can win, and 3 of them are in the top 4. Ulysses, it's like you said, he's that wild card right now. Who's he going to help?
Ulysses is probably thinking, you know what?
You know?
Ulysses is probably thinking, you guys can race for the championship all you want. Let me win this race, and you guys can...
Look at this.
And the problem is, it's going up against 2 of the best blockers in the business, and Schilling and McClure.
They just got under Schilling.
McClure's going to take the lead here, coming to 2 to go.
McClure had both eyes out the windshield. They've just now transferred to the rearview mirror.
Yeah. There was a lot of movement going on there with Ulysses in the mix, and they just drove right around Schilling.
2 laps to go. Can we make it back to the white's going to be the question. How long can you wait if you're Metallic or Schilling? Ulysses looking high on McClure. Ooh, little contact. Here comes Josh down to the bottom.
Wow, I'm surprised Metallic didn't go with Ulysses right there. Push him by McClure.
Got some traffic up ahead here. Denny Carroll, Richard Martin. Where are they going to go as the leaders come up on them? They're going to move to the middle groove here, yield the bottom to the race leaders. And it looks like, hold your breath for a couple extra 100 feet here, looks like we are going to get back to the start-finish line. Championship going to be decided here in the final 2.66 miles of the season.
How wide can Chuck McClure make that car?
You know,
we're about to find out.
You're going to see him.
And if Metallic makes a move, does Donnie go with him?
There we go.
Wow.
Looking high.
Ulysses is going with Metallic on the outside.
Jeremy Jeffrey there as well. Gonna be a big shove coming. And Metallic get to the right rear is going to be the question here through the triangle. Oh, Sandoval got out of shape. He's up into the wall. That's going to hurt that line, and I think McClure may have it now. He's got both lanes cleared through the tri-oval. And Chuck McClure pick up the championship as he'll win tonight's finale.
Great race.
Add another championship to his resume. He claims the title in season 66.
And Metallic and Schilling were right there. Aggressive. Congratulations.
Did the yellow crosses the line P1 to take the overall championship. Donnie Garrett crosses the line second to take the bracket challenge championship.
I don't know what happened to Sandoval right there on that last lap. Did he make contact with somebody and that sent him up into the wall or what? That was...
Yeah, I'm not sure if he and Jeremy maybe got together.
Does that really hurt that outside line when the Josh Metallic was looking for a move there?
Oh, no, I wonder if his game froze or something. But that just killed the momentum that Metallic needed on that outside line. I'm not 100% certain that Metallic could have made that outside line work off of 4. He needed to be further up alongside of Donnie Garrett, I think, to have a shot at McClure's right rear quarter panel. But you said, Kyle, as soon as they lost numbers, that was pretty much all she wrote. And then McClure basically just had to keep it pinned down to the inside line to make sure nobody was able to get by him to pick up this win and this championship. love how we end up precursoring finales and saying you don't have to win the championship, and almost invariably they end up doing both.
Oh, and Robert Breedlove, that was quite the congratulatory hit there.
Look at the car. It was mint condition. Oh, well.
We had a 4-way tie.
He blew it up. It's on
for
fire
most
right
wins
now.
on the season. 2 wins apiece between McClure, DeSpirito, Sullins, and Wesley coming into tonight. Chuck will stand alone in that statistic with his 3rd win on the season and take the championship as well. We'll be talking with him as well as the bracket challenge champion Donnie Garrett, Brian Schilling closing out the podium. We'll be talking with those 3 drivers here in just a moment. 5 drivers came into tonight hoping to win this title. 4 of them will finish inside of the top 5 with Metallic and DeSpirito in 4th and 5th. The speeding penalty on the money lap for Denny Carroll will have him finishing out 23rd in tonight's season finale.
I see commentary.
Is that a ghost?
I think it is. Now
Apparition?
we know it was a poltergeist that was driving the 998 because we know that the actual Michael Norman can't hot pit.
Shut up, I got lucky. No, I got lucky. I seriously did.
I didn't know
Did a good
Ghost
job tonight.
talks
No,
like that.
That's a
Shut
good
up.
run tonight, Michael. 16th on the lead
Yeah,
line.
I got freight train at the end. I'm so glad somebody mentioned about one, because I completely forgot that one can gets you 10 laps. So someone was like, around that final pit stop, was like, so what, one can get you 10 laps, right? And somebody said yes. I said, thank you.
Well, Michael, there's a cardinal rule in NR: never work with a generic car. So
I mean, I got freight trained quite a lot in that race.
I
never
noticed
work with
that.
a generic car, and then never work with a generic car with rookie stripes.
There was a lot of times you were in the middle, and there was like absolutely nobody behind you or in front of you.
Well, there was a
so
lot of times where I should have went to the 3rd lane, and I just didn't I didn't even look in time. I was watching the front, trying to make sure I didn't run over somebody. Then I look in my mirror, and it's like, oh, look, there's a 3rd lane. It's too late. And then that coming to the first round of green flag pit stops, I was stuck in the middle. I was like, please let me down. I probably could have stayed out one extra lap that time, but I chose not to. And then I don't even know what happened. How I lost all that ground on that first round of pit stops.
Well, certainly looked like a wild race for us up here in the booth, and we heard from Dante, and kind of sounds like from you, wild race there inside the cockpit as well.
Dante's, I guess you could say his ignition went out, so his engine didn't fully blow, which is why the caution didn't come out.
We saw a couple of things
just to
here
clear
tonight
that
that
out.
didn't bring out a yellow that we're still kind of scratching our heads about, but it led to a thrilling finish.
Yeah, it did, and the Robert Breedlove thing with the second round was just us coming off the corner, and then them deciding to kind of cut low, and I was trying to follow them, and I had just gotten to the back bumper because they were telling me to push, and I just got into the back bumper, and I guess it pushed him into Breedlove and turned Breedlove up into the wall.
Yeah, we're still trying to figure out how that one didn't bring out a yellow, but
Yeah, I was upset about that too.
race still manages to end under green. We saw a thrilling finish tonight. Let's see if we can dial up our podium finishers on the evening. Let's see if we can get a hold of the driver that went to victory lane a couple of weeks ago. Going to end up 2nd in the championship standings. Let's get a hold of Brian Schilling. Hey, Brian, it's the guys up here in the broadcast booth. You got a copy?
Yep.
Wow. We're up here trying to speculate, trying to figure out what the strategy is of all the drivers here tonight. And it kind of seemed like priority number 1 in the second half of this race was be at the front, stay at the front, so that way you know where all the rest of the competition is at. You managed to be out in front here tonight for a good portion of this race towards the close. Not able to quite throw that block on the 17, but with the way you guys were racing, was there no give up? Was there still a scenario you saw where you could maybe still work your way back up here to the front, take this championship?
Yeah, definitely. When you get 3 or 4 guys all branching out trying to pass each other, sometimes you get that run. But I kind of knew I was a sitting duck. I seen them getting real restless behind me, and I knew they wanted to get Chuck away from me, us apart. So I was able to make the one block. I wasn't comfortable with trying to come down on the second one, and usually it's like you get away with one block, but the second one usually is a wreck. So I'd rather have a good clean finish instead of wrecking everybody with ill-advised block.
Now, obviously, we documented what happened last week. It made this final round now a 1-race finale rather than a 2-race final round. Was there a difference in pressure coming into tonight as one of the championship 5 that maybe you wouldn't have had a sense of had we had this as a 2-race round?
Not necessarily. And I've been in this position a few times, but I knew if things trended the way they did last race, the top 5 were all going to kind of finish near each other, so it was still going to be run up front.
We end up talking a lot of times with drivers, especially during the playoffs and specifically during the elimination races. There always seems to be a sense of co-opetition for a certain point of time. There are allies, there are teammates that work with each other, and then there gets to be a point where everybody's of the understanding, okay, now all bets are off, it's every man for himself. I'm in this scenario to get into the next round, you're in this scenario, we can't necessarily work together. It looked like here tonight, a lot of you Championship 5 were kind of working together in the packs that you were in, came down to pit road together, came out in the same pack again. At one point, we ended up seeing all 5 of you inside of that lead group, inside of the top 10 before we got to the money stop. Where was kind of the understanding cut line here of, hey, we've worked together this far, but now there's a championship on the line. Only one of us can win this thing.
Oh, yeah. Anything, 5-10 to go. I even told Chuck, I'm like, we get 2 to go and you need to cover a move. You need to do it. We've me and him have worked well together over the years. 9 seasons ago, I actually went back and watched that replay from season 57 where he literally was basically pushing my car the entire way around the track. So I'm ecstatic to see him get it. And be able to give him a hand winning it, because it was one of those I definitely owed him for that.
A great season for you. We mentioned the trip that you had to Victory Lane a couple of weeks ago. Going to finish up, I believe, unofficially second in the overall standings. What does this do for confidence, motivation going into season 67, along with the fact that we're moving back over to the Med Cup 2019 mod for the brand new season?
Well, it's good to get the monkey off my back. I don't think I made the Final 4 last season, and I've kind of had a couple off seasons per se, so it feels good. As much as you want to win the championship, I'm still happy. I'm happy to be here. We've lost so many people this year. It's really taken a toll on me, and just it's really changed my outlook with things. Would I love to win? Yes, but I just love being here, and racing and being able to enjoy it, and because the people we've lost, and they're not here anymore. So instead of getting mad and upset, it's more I'm trying to just enjoy things a lot more.
Well, certainly understand that outlook for sure. Brian, a great run for you here tonight to close out the season. Looks like the points are in officially. You do lock up second in the championship standings here for season 66. We'll now give you the opportunity here for some thank you sponsors and shout outs to close out season 66.
All right. Thank you, Rodney Solons, Paints. And I know one of the previous sponsors here too, Bob Dixon, who is, we all know, is no longer with us. It sucks. Cancer sucks. Just say that right at the get-go. We've lost him. We lost Wiley. We've lost Bones. Some other of my friends, they've lost friends of people, ones they've raced with this year. even the the NASCAR community drivers that we've grown up watching are gone this year. It sucks. And thank you to the admins. Thank you guys for the broadcasts. They're always great to watch. Also, congratulations to Chuck on the championship. Congratulations to Donnie on the bracket series championship. Big help these last few races. Good to see him get that title. Well earned. And just thank you everybody for coming out.
That's Brian Schilling. He's going to bring it home. Third place here tonight in the finale, second in the championship standings. Congratulations on a great run here tonight, and best of luck with this momentum going into the brand new season 67 as you look to add another championship to your resume.
Thank you.
Brian Schilling going to finish officially 5 points out of the championship here tonight. Speaking of champion, let's dial up one of our champions. Runner-up finish here tonight nets him the Bracket Series Challenge Championship. Let's get a hold of Donnie Garrett. Hey, Donnie, it's the guys up here in the broadcast booth. You got a copy?
Woo! Yes, sir.
Man, I'll tell you what, Nature Boy, you had a heck of a final couple of races here to close out the season. It nets you the Bracket Challenge Championship. I believe, if I'm looking at this correctly, 4 finishes inside of the top 5 in the last 5 races. You finished the highest in the point standings of those that were not in the playoffs, and you bring home the Bracket Challenge Championship here tonight. You were in a safe spot up in that lead group. We saw the 41 get a penalty, so as long as you kept that car pointing in the right direction, you were going to bring the championship home. But hey, you were also in the conversation for this race victory here tonight. How much was that on your mind to maybe get the Bracket Challenge Championship and a checkered flag to close out season 66?
I tell you, any other night I probably would have did it, but I had a shot. I think Schilling knows me, so I was getting ready to go low on Chuck there because I think Schilling would have pushed me. But again, I didn't want to screw up that group going for the championship. Of course, I'm going for my own championship, so I just figured, you know what? I knew we come up on Denny there. I'd heard he got a black flag, and I was like, you know what? I'm just easing along. There was no pressure on me. Just don't wreck, and just held on, and I just pushed whoever was in front of me, and they come out good. End up second, and them boys better be glad I wasn't in that championship because they might have been in trouble.
Yeah, for sure. We ended up seeing you a top 5, top 10 car all night long. Obviously, we talk a lot about momentum, whether it's during the season or at the close of the season in preparation for a new season. I mentioned about your stats here in these final 5 races. 4 finishes inside of the top 5 in these final 5 races of the season. You mentioned about those guys maybe being worried if you were in the championship battle here this season. What about next season? Is the momentum going to continue, do you think, starting into season 67? And we might be talking about you going for that overall championship, not just the Bracket Challenge Championship.
I think so. I mean, what happened this year was I had some connection issues early in the season, and I'd be up in 3rd, 4th place and lose connection, and I did that 4 weeks, and I'd come back and I'd end up 25th, 30th, and so that's what got me out. Yeah, I got close to the championship, for the championship 12, but just didn't make it because of those finishes, and so I had a great season. It was a great season. It just was those couple of races where I had some connection issues, where I'd have been there fighting with them, and but it was fun. A lot of respect up there. A lot of great. I'd tell you what, some of the greatest drivers, in my opinion, in the country, right there in that little group that was up in the front. And I mean, we trust me, that I was holding on as tight as I could, but a lot of respect was given up there, and we had a blast.
It was interesting. We mentioned the term tonight, X Factors. There were going to be 35 drivers that took the green flag that weren't battling for a championship. We had the 5 battling for the overall championship, yourself and Denny battling for the Bracket Series Championship. Obviously, in the closing stages of this race, we had 3 of those 5 championship drivers up there in that group. How much wheeling and dealing was going on the radio for you? Because we were kind of looking at you and Ulysses, maybe Jeremy as well, as those that could be the deciders as to who was going to take the overall championship here tonight.
Well, I just like I said, I just didn't want to wreck. I knew Denny had problems, and I knew I had him covered. But my thing was just don't wreck. And Josh, I don't know if you watched on the when he was doing it, but Josh kept trying to go, and I'm like, not yet, because I was tight on fuel. I actually was a little tight on fuel there, and I took a can. It called for a can and a half, and I took a can because I was right on. I actually ran out of gas coming down the backstretch after the race, but I didn't want him to go because I was going to go up there and push him. But I didn't want to get up there and get on the outside and use more fuel because I was tight, and so I said, just wait, and then finally once we just all start mixing it up, like I say, man, we were all over the place, but a lot of respect given up there, and I wasn't going to do anything to mess up anybody, and just want to finish. I want to finish straight.
It's interesting you bring that up because we noticed the number that you guys were coming in on, and I wondered if any of you were going to be possibly trying the gamble there of taking on a can. So definitely interesting to hear that you guys were very, very close on maybe not even reaching the finish on what you guys had in the tank. But Donnie, you do bring it across the start finish line in second. A great close to the season for you. You pick up the Bracket Challenge Championship. Had to fight your way to do it as well. Had to fight your way through the loser side of the bracket to get up there into the finals, and then able to take it here in this final race of the season. Congratulations on a job well done. And before we let you go, floor is yours for thank you, sponsors, and shout outs.
Yeah, thank you guys. I tell you what, I forgot to do this last time. I'm gonna give a big old shout out to Bones. He's probably watching tonight, and we miss that old guy. Got to give a shout out to my painter. I tell you what, he put some extra slick on that car because it was slick tonight, and that's Rodney Sullivan's and Rodney Sullivan's paints. Got to congratulate Chuck on that championship, and I got to give a shout out to my sister who's watching tonight, Pootie, and got to give a shout out to Pootie and my brother-in-law, Big Head Tony. So I got to give a shout out to them, and they're watching tonight. So give a shout out to them. And hey, tell you what, man, watch this old 77 car next season. But hey, man, they're going to change the mod on me. So I don't know what'll happen. I have to relearn that mod and everything. But yeah, like I say, just you watch out for the old 77 next year. The old guy might get this thing done.
Well, we will definitely be keeping an eye on that 77 for sure. Donnie, congratulations on picking up the Bracket Challenge Championship here in Season 66. A solid runner-up finish to close out the season. Best of luck to you in Season 67.
You got it, buddy.
Woo! Donnie Garrett bringing that number 77 Chevrolet home in P2. He takes the Bracket Challenge Championship. Let's dial up the driver that wins the overall championship here tonight, after he gets his third win of the season to boot. Let's get a hold of Chuck McClure down in Victory Lane. Hey, Chuck, it's the guys up here in the broadcast booth. You got a copy?
Hey, guys, how you doing?
Well, man, first off, heart rate check. How's the pulse right now? Have you had time to calm down?
Actually, no, I have not. It's still beating out my chest.
Man, I mean, what a race here tonight. We've seen it so many times, whether it's the battle for the championship, the battle for an elimination spot during the playoffs, or even in the regular season finale for those final few spots to be a part of the postseason. The championship battles, the points battles, whoever you're battling, you always seem to be in the same vicinity with them. We saw that during the course of the night. The championship 5 all up inside of the top 10 after the first round of pit stops. 3 of you inside of the top 4 in the closing stages of this race. Talk me through the strategy, the prior planning, and the execution to not only be able to make the move for the win, but know what moves you needed to do to keep those other championship hopefuls in your rearview mirror.
Well, keep your friends close, your enemies closer, and it turned out tonight that they were both. I really had my eye on the 4 and the 39. The 4 and I worked good together, but I knew the 39 was going to make a move on us, and I would probably push the 4 until the last lap, and we had a deal. All bets are off. But wow, I got him a little bit earlier than I wanted to, and I got lucky enough to hold on because the 39 and the 4 were coming.
Well, we saw you open up the season with a victory to lock yourself in. You then would go on a few weeks later to get your second win of the season, which all but confirmed you were going to battle for the championship. Bit of a winless streak since then, but the consistency was definitely there. You bookend the season with victories, but I'm going to ask you the same question that I asked Brian. these last few seasons, of course, we implemented the 2-race final round. So there was obviously an emphasis on consistency between the 2 races. And if you made a little bit of a mistake in the first race, at least you kind of knew where you stood in the final race of the season. We had the issues last week. We're coming into tonight. It was 1 race decides all. Was there a difference in pressure coming into tonight as opposed to what a scenario might have been had we had the 2 races in this final round?
Tonight was a ton of pressure. We used to do it like this 1 race, and I love that. But tonight, oh man, like I said, my heart's still beating out my chest. I would have rather had two races. Had something unfortunate happen last week. Worse things have happened. It's not a big deal. But the 4 and I ran good last week, and we would hope to stretch out a little bit and just make it between the 2 or 3 of us this week. And didn't work out that way. All those guys, all 5 of them, 4 of them, super tough. Never got away from them all night. And believe me, I was looking more out the mirror most of the time than I was the windshield.
Yeah, we definitely expected that for sure. I mean, incredible season for you. You stand alone statistically with most wins on the season. Your 3rd one here tonight. You pick up another championship here on Thursday nights. So now we've obviously got a mod swap that's going to be taking place going into next season. What is the motivation? What is the goal for next season now as you look to maybe go back-to-back, defend that title? I mean, do we see any change in strategy, or are we going to have a carbon copy of what happened here in Season 66?
I hope it's a carbon copy. I love new things like the new mods. I usually do pretty good. Yeah, if we can repeat next year, that'd be great. I want to be champ all the time.
Well, there you go. Well, Chuck, we won't keep you from continuing your celebration. Well-deserved championship here after an incredible season. But before we let you do that, we're going to turn it over to you for victory lane and championship. Thank you, sponsors and shout-outs.
First off, I want to send out my prayers and condolences to the family of Greg Biffle. Great driver, great guy. He's going to be missed. My teammates, Mark, Tim, Brian done a heck of a job pushing me tonight. I pushed him as well. And Ultimate Garage Floors pushed me to the win. Donnie, thank you. There's just too many people to thank. All the admins here, especially Sheck. He's been doing a lot of work behind the scenes that we don't ever get to say his name or forget, and we shouldn't. He does a lot of work. Josh, Tim, all the guys, Prime. We're missing Bones really bad. Speaking of that, there's too many numbers on the infield, and we hope that we don't add to that ever, especially next season. And Rodney for painting it really, really fast, beautiful car for me.
Well, Chuck, congratulations on the job well done here tonight. Go and enjoy your championship. We look forward to seeing you defend that title in the upcoming 67th season. Moving over to that Men Cup 2019 mod. Enjoy your victory and your championship here tonight.
Appreciate it, guys. Have a good Christmas.
Congratulations, Chuck.
Thank you, sir.
Chuck McClure, your season 66 Talladega Challenge Series champion. I think one of the things I loved about this season is now we bring down the curtain on season 66 is there was never a clear runaway favorite. Everyone seemed at some point during the course of the season to find a moment of inconsistency that they had to overcome. I mean, you look at McClure's numbers. Yes, he has the 3 victories, but in the span of 15 races, well, 14 technically, 6 finishes inside of the top 5. So that's less than half finishes inside of the top 5, and only 9 finishes inside of the top 10. But those victories were at key moments for him to not only lock himself into the playoffs, but then the consistent finishes that maybe we take for granted. An 11th, a 12th, a 13th place finish. It may not seem like much on paper when we look week to week, but when you put it all together, even those finishes inside the top 15, inside the top 20, they absolutely account for something. And there was so much parity in this season. 8 different drivers went to victory lane. it's going to be really interesting to see as we kind of go back to Old Faithful, the Men Cup 2019, if we end up having the exact same type of a scenario here where it's going to be very difficult for drivers to establish that sense of consistency to call themselves championship in season 67.
It is very difficult to be consistent when it comes to super speedway racing. So, like you said, if you can, come out of there with a 11th or a 12th or 14th, 15th, especially in a race where it looks like you're going to finish maybe 25th or on back, if you can find a way to recover, for a top 15, I mean, that plays a big part in the points. So, the unpredictability of super speedway racing makes it very difficult to be consistent.
One thing that's going to be really interesting as well, mentioned about, the intensity that we ended up seeing last week when they only had 1 week off during the Thanksgiving break. Kind of a few weeks off here before we eventually drop the green flag on season 67. With that off week, with those few off weeks, gotta wonder just exactly how itching are these guys going to be to get behind the wheel here and kick off that brand new season. That season opener may be a banger.
Oh yeah, and one way or the other, it definitely could be. But I'm sure a lot of these guys, they partake in other leagues out there. So I mean, I don't think rust is going to be a big issue for these guys.
No, absolutely
cars
not.
ready though, right? Different they got to get new cars ready.
Yes, sir. Seen a number of previews of paint schemes that we're going to see on track next season. They look beautiful out of the Rodney Sullivan's paint shop, and looking forward to seeing them on track for sure. Well, guys, incredible season, and hey, we get to do it all over again here when the new season rolls around.
Looking forward to that.
Yeah, thanks again to Redline Performance Motorsports and Rodney Sullivan's Paints for sponsoring this whole thing. It looks like they're doing it again.
Absolutely. We are looking forward to it
Thunder
for
Gaming,
sure.
Of course.
Yes, absolutely. Well, we appreciate everybody that tuned into our coverage here tonight during the course of this entire season. We hope that you guys will join us for season 67. Our congratulations to Donnie Garrett. He is the season 66 Bracket Challenge champion. And Chuck McClure, the winner of tonight's season finale, is your season 66 overall champion on Thursday nights for the Rolling Thunder Gaming Talladega Challenge Series. We appreciate you joining us here tonight. We will see you guys next season. As for Kyle Matthews, Blaine Donlin, I'm Seth Cole. Thanks for joining us on the Simulcast with FRN and Tarnation TV.